Hi, I'm Eric Summerer, and here's what's coming from the Dice Tower this week.
Hey folks, welcome to the news for May 27th, 2013. Well, lots of things going on. I got a lot of reviews done last week. We put out quite a few of them. Hopefully you enjoyed several of them. And we have more of them coming this week. But I also want to talk about things that are coming up here. First of all, June is coming up. And June is one of the bigger conventions of the year, and that's the Origins Game Fair in Columbus, Ohio. Now, we're working with Origins this year. We'll be there, Eric and myself, and a few other Dice Tower folks, and we're going to be recording previews from several of the game companies. I think we have like 20 different game companies lined up where we're going to be going there and we're going to be videoing their games and showing a preview of those. We'll have them turned around and up on the internet the week after Origins, so hopefully that's something you can look forward to. I hope you can come meet us there. We'll have a Wits and Wagers game you can join. And also we have a Dice Tower dinner. If you're at Origins and you'll be there Thursday, it's Thursday night. We're going to meet at 6 o'clock right outside the exhibition hall. So hopefully we can see you guys then. So that's exciting. Also, summer is here. There's so much. I have been making lists here of all the games that are going to be coming out this summer and the companies, and I'm up to 86 right now, and so we're putting together previews for that, and things will get exciting. But let's hear about the news. In the board gaming news, Mayfair just announced that they're going to be reprinting The Downfall of Pompeii, which is a fun game. I still have a copy of it myself. Pompeii is a game in which you are trying to escape the fated city before the volcano lava flow hits and destroys everything. How many people can you get out? AEG announced the next expansion for Smash Up. This one is the obligatory Cthulhu expansion. Is anybody surprised? And I think it's really funny. The game has 4 new factions. What are they? Cultists, Innsmouth, Elder Things, and Cephalopods. It also has some new Madness cards that you somehow incorporated with this. This should be interesting to see how these mix up. We have Pirate Cultists now, or Zombie Cephalopods, or Elder Things mixed with robots. I mean, the possibilities will be huge. WizKids has announced a 6-month storyline for their new attack game, which is their Star Trek move the plastic ships around, shoot at each other, blow them up type game that's debuting at Gen Con. The Dominion War, where they'll be having this 6-month-long storyline and combat thing with the grand prize winner getting, well, a grand prize. ACD has announced an exclusive deal with Rebel. .pl. Rebel is a company that publishes several different games. You might know them from City Tycoon or K2. Thisyars has announced that they're going to be reprinting Firenze, which I previewed last week, and New Amsterdam, which I will be reviewing probably not this week, but very soon. And R&R Games has announced that they have picked up Hanabi, one of the games that was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres. So the Spiel des Jahres Awards have been announced each year. They are by far the biggest awards that come out each year. And they are announced, the winner is announced every June, and the nominees are announced in May. And they have 3 categories. They have the Spiel des Jahres, which is their main category, like for family games. This year, the 3 nominees were Augustus from Paulo Mori, published by Hurricane, the Hanabi, which I just mentioned, designed by Antoine Balza, and Quicks, a dice game designed by Stefan Bendorf. They also released a list of recommended games, and there's, I think, 10 of those. The 3 that I think were fantastic are Divinaire, Escape, and Libertalia, 3 really great games. But then they have the Kennerspiel Award. This is like for more gamer games, more strategic games. They have Bruges, The Legends of Andor, which I reviewed a couple of weeks ago, and The Palaces of Carrera. And then finally, they also have a Kinderspiel Award where they have 3 children's games nominated. And you can go to our website, GameBugle.com, to see the pictures of them and see the different games that have been nominated. This is a big deal for these games. The winner often will sell hundreds of thousands of more games. They have a huge induction ceremony. That's, it's really a big deal to win the Spiel des Jahres. Notable games in the past that I've won have included Ticket to Ride, Settlers of Catan, Carcassonne, Dominion. Games that you have heard of that have done quite well. Sometimes they owe part of what they've done to this award. For reviews this week, we're going to have a brand new reviewer joining the Dice Tower, so we look forward to seeing some of their reviews, and Ryan Metzler will be doing some more reviews. These are the possibilities that I will be doing, although there's fewer games than last week, so I think I'll get most of these done. Iron Rain, a game about building walls and attacking other players. A brand new game from Mayfair, The 5 Points Gangs of New York. The Lord of the Rings dice building game. The big box expansion for Catan, Explorers and Pirates. This abstract strategy game, Acuity. This small little dungeon crawl type game, Hero vs. Guardian, the non-North American version of Innovation, the Ant game Mermies, the second deck building game ever built, Arctic Scavengers, the expansion for Mage Knight, this deduction game from Martin Wallace, this environment saving semi-cooperative game CO2, and then the newest expansion for Sentinels of the Multiverse, Shattered Timelines. All right, let's talk about the podcast in the Dice Tower Network this week. Plaid Hat number 93 has come out, where they have more Topic Popcorn Part 2, where different contributors bring different topics and they discuss them. Not Just Another Gaming Podcast number 29 goes over a whole pile of games with a bunch of mini-game reviews, including the Great Heartland Hauling Company, Voluspa, and Shadow Rift, plus many other games. Flip the Table number 29 takes a look at the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game. I'm sure you're very excited about that, but it's a very funny podcast. Take a listen. And the Party Gamecast, taking a look at the party games, which most podcasts and video people ignore. In number 9 episode, they've taken a look at Cranium and Partini. And then finally, the Dice Tower will be coming out with, will be coming out with a new episode in which we take a look at more games and such. We also say, do you judge a game by its cover? Is the cover exciting, and does that make you want to buy the game? All right, let's talk a little bit more about the Spiel des Jahres Awards. They're a really big deal. Like I said, they have a big effect. The national newspapers in Germany cover them. We talk about them. I can list you probably 10 different winners of the Spiel des Jahres Awards over the past several years. I know the first winner was Hare and Tortoise. I know Scotland Yard won. I mean, I know a lot about the winners of the year because they're discussed. It's a really big deal. Not just online in the online community, but in public. People know the Spiel des Jahres Awards, and in fact, you have to, if you win the award, you have to pay the committee to put that logo on your box because it's that big of a deal. So there seems to be no second place award. There seems to be no other possibility for an award. We have the Games Magazine's Game of the Year. They do a good job for their audience, the readers of games magazines. The problem with those awards is specifically they're picked by one person, and therefore they go on the whims of that one person. If they like a specific game, oddly enough, that game's going to make it into the awards, and if they've not played a specific game or they don't like a certain genre, then that one really has no chance of making it into the awards. And I hesitate to put gaming awards in the hand of any one person. I mean, obviously, I say whatever I like on my show, but I don't want to be one person to deal out awards. The IGA Awards, the International Gaming Awards, is a group of self-selecting folks who have gotten together from different countries all over the world, mostly Europe. And they each year give out an award at the Essen Game Fair. They give out 2, one for the best game of the year and one for best 2-player game. It's almost always a high-level Euro game. This is the kind of gaming that they've done, and so they're kind of a selective group in the sense that their gaming focus is different, and for some reason they've never really taken off. Yeah, the companies know who they are, and there's internet groups who know they are, but the award never has really just gone above. If you like, for example, the past 5 or 6 years, the level of exposure that they have is basically the same as it's been. Then we have the Origins Award, which has the chance to be the biggest award after the Spiel des Jahres, and yet hasn't, and that's because of a pile of missteps over the years. They've picked terrible games. They picked games in the wrong categories. There's been politicking involved. Now, this year I was on one of the selection committees to pick the 10 games that got narrowed down to 5 and that people vote on, and I can tell you that the Origins is certainly working on this. They're trying to make these awards better, and this year they're much better than they've been in the past years, which it doesn't say much, but it is a start. And people do pay attention to the Origins Awards, even though they have been flawed in the past. But it still isn't the same as the Spiel des Jahres. And then other than that, there's a bunch of smaller awards. There's the Mensa Awards, and there are different toy grading groups that pick things, but there really isn't any awards that come out there. Now, obviously, I'm a bit biased towards the Dice Tower Awards, which is a committee that I put together, and I'm always adding to it and looking for new people to it, and I want people from every stripe and flavor, and I think we had 40 to 50 people vote this year on the different games. But even then again, you know, the Dice Tower Awards, I'll be honest, while I'm starting to see logos show up on GameBox, and that's exciting, they're still not growing to the point where people are really taking that much note of them. Maybe if we put a $10,000 prize on the winner someday, that will that will get people talking, who knows. But so I'm going to work my hardest, and I want the Dice Tower Awards to be a big award, but I don't know that we'll ever attain the level of the Spiel des Jahres. And one of the things that I like about awards is that awards always get people talking. Every year we see people complain about the Spiel des Jahres, and they say, they're picking junk games and garbage games, and yet those games still sell very well, and they still do a good job. And one of the reasons for that is that the Spiel des Jahres awards are very focused in what they're picking. They're looking for a good family game. And having talked to at least one or two of these judges on the committee, they don't really care what everyone else thinks. They're out there to pick good family games. And people say, but these games in the past are so much better than the stuff they pick now. And that's just really not true. It goes year to year. You know, there are years where there's a breakout game, where the game is just so phenomenal, everyone knows it's going to break and hit all the awards. Ticket to Ride was such a game. When Ticket to Ride came out, I called it for Spiel des Jahres Award the instant I played it. And as it went through the process, you could just, it was a slam dunk. But most years don't have a game like that. And so you're sitting there, you look at the awards list, and you're like, they didn't put this game on there. I never heard of that game. Well, just because you never heard of that game doesn't mean it's not a really good game. And that's one of the neat things about awards, is that they can bring a game to your attention that you haven't heard of. And you say, well, these games aren't really that, they're fairly simple. Yes, but for an award, that's a good thing for a game to win, because this is a game that's going to be sold thousands and thousands of copies to families all over the place, and we want them to play a game that is a lot of fun. Now, for the Spiel des Jahres awards list this year, I've played a grand total of 1 of the 9 nominees, Legends of Andor. Now, I'm going to try to remedy that over the next month or so. I'm trying to get copies of all the other awards, if I can pull them off the nominees and play them. And I like to see them, and maybe I won't like them or not. But I do like the fact that the Spiel des Jahres award is a big deal in our community. I would like to see other awards become that same big deal, and perhaps they will as time goes by. But as it is now, people want me to stand up and criticize these awards, and I really cannot, because they are doing an excellent job for the hobby. They are promoting games. The winners of the last year, whether you like them or not, have all been very solid, good family games, and I'm glad to see them follow that legacy as time goes by, and I hope they continue to do so in the future. Well, that is a lot going on this week, folks. Until next time, you can watch all sorts of things in the Dice Tower. We have another top 10 list coming out this week. Top 10 tips for game designers. You can also check out the news. Remy Gibson puts out the news 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's a small podcast that you can listen to. And finally, if you like the Dice Tower and you want to support the Dice Tower, we have extra promos for Mage Wars, Robinson Crusoe, and more. You can find those by going to our website, dicetower.com, and clicking on the donate button there. It will show you more information about those, and then dice if you like our custom dice and so on. For those of you involved in the Kickstarter, by the end of this week, everybody should have their stuff. I'm hoping. blame the U.S. Post Office if you don't have it yet, but let's hope you have it by then. Anyway, Tom Vasel signing off. For those of you who live in America, happy Memorial Day.
To find out more about all of our podcasts, check out DicetowerNetwork.com. To see a listing of our videos, head to Dicetower.com. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Cool Stuff Incorporated, where you can buy games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock.
Shut the door!